Hey people, Theo here, and I'm back with more metroexodus. In the last episode, we finished off the Baron and started Leto. Well, Leto. The summer, basically, part of the game. So let's finish off doing the radio stuff and then we'll continue on.
Бас, візьми трубку. А Бас, ти там де вообще? Це Дімон.
А, Дімон, чого кричиш? Я що, хлопчик має стояти і чекати виклику?
Сам винен, нафіга було цю чистоту обирати. Тут же ж на пості ковчег цей локшину на вуха вішає.
А, ну ти це, не хвилюйся. Вже не вішає взагалі.
Як це? Я думав, що як туди стільки баранів валить і не повертається, ця заїжджена платівка і не заткнеться ніколи.
Ну, мабуть, один баран таки кудись там дістався і платівку цю зламав.
Ха-ха-ха! А вже ж, звісно, зламав. Щоб там баранів тих на сніданок із обідом не жерло, воно, либонь, просто наїлося. І вирішило перепочити перед вечерею.
Можливо, та зараз можемо говорити тут і ніхто не дізнається.
Твоя правда. То за що ти хотів перетерти?
Ти чув про великий збір, так?
Чув. Самого, зрозуміло, не кликали. От сиджу, чекаю, хто із двох бугрів вирішить мою бригаду найняти. А ти як?
І я так само. Люди мої вже засиділися. Зараз наш шанс реального бабла підняти, клянуся священним полум'ям. І є в мене ідея. Як щодо скооперуватися?
Ха, хороша ідея. Розборок з тобою мені точно більше не треба.
Мені теж. Коліно досі болить. Тож по руках, брате.
По руках. Деталі треба особисто обговорити. Серйозні справи люблять тишу. А тут нас хоч і не повинні підслухати.
Так, розумію. Завтра біля руїн ресторану годиться?
Годиться. Отже, завтра, Абас. Кінець зв'язку.
Рахмет, брат. Кінець зв'язку.
Interesting. Anything else?
Браття та сестри, собака барон мертвий.
Ей!
Сама його вбивав. Весь Мунай-Байлер не знав тепер, що робити. Настав наш день. Бий, нафтовий собака! Хто як може? Бий! І приходьте, був вишка, барон! Приходь до нас! Бери зброя! Довго вислужив собака? І що за це отримував? Нічого! Лише стусаний, смерть і священний полум'я! Я на цей полум'я тьфу! Плюва! Пора проганяти усі Мунай-Байлер, наш земля! Зовсім! Тепер весь земля! Весь нафта! Весь їжа! Буде наш! Смерть! Нафтовий собака!
And nothing more. Music. And more music. I guess there's no getting rid of it now, is there? Diary. They're gonna be reading again. Yamantau. Wait. Okay, the music's nice, but I would like some music that's not going to interrupt me. It works. Yamantau. We are approaching the Yamantau bunker, the final destination of our long journey. Direct radio contact with the bunker has completely dissolved Miller's resentment towards me for destroying our previous lives. He is eagerly anticipating the meeting with the Minister of Defense. He was promised probably such things are important for a career of officer. The people, though, are less interested. They are asking important questions. Where are the occupying forces? Or is there just wilderness and people gone wild around? What's stopping the government from restoring the country? What has been done in the last 20 years? Miller believes that we'll get all the answers. He will be pardoned, as well as Anna and I, and we all will return home to the metro. The Caspian. Mere kilometers separated us from the Caspian 1 communication center, but we had no way of knowing if the maps stored there would yield a spot free from radiation, a place where we could finally settle in peace. But what was last left for us, save for hope, the desert, was taking its toll. The crew suffered from heat and thirst, and Aurora was not in her top form. Either we were out of coal and had to switch to burn... not in her top form either. We were out of coal and had to switch to burning the only available fuel, old cross ties and twigs. Twigs were starting to grow rare though, and the piles of discarded cross ties were quite often buried in sand where the Caspian Sea used to be. The desert now stretched, and although the radiation levels remained quite acceptable, no signs of life save for rare ruins or rusty ship hulks were to be seen anywhere. Not like there was any chance of staying on the good side anyway. Quite soon after obtaining the car, I got a message from the colonel. He wanted me to help a local lady named Guile fight off some bandits in exchange for information. Why do we keep encountering conflict wherever we go? Guile turned out to be an informal leader of the local resistance movement, or rather the whole movement. Despite lack of active support from the enslaved locals, she has been fighting against their subjugators for years, having become somewhat of a legend amongst the slaves and their masters alike. The slaves would all but pray to her. The slavers hated and feared her like the devil. No wonder that once they finally found her last refuge in an old lighthouse, they besieged it at once. We would, of course, gladly help Guile in her struggle for the freedom of her people. But first we had to find the satellite communication center, and that's where meeting the lady proved really fortunate, as she knew the location of the bunker. Her mother used to work there before the war, and Guile told us that the center kept functioning for several years after the nuclear strike exchange. Compiling the Fallout maps, going down there to get them was definitely going to be worth it. I managed to find the maps and deliver them to the base. Decoding them required time, but we had more pressing issues at the moment. Most of the crew members were down due to the heat and dehydration, and the Aurora didn't have enough fuel and water left to even get moving. The local kingpin, the Baron, had it all, but was none too eager to share. Considering our desperate situation and our past experience negotiating with the bandits, the colonel decided to take what was needed by force, starting with the only fresh water source in the vicinity where we could steal a full Bowser truck. On the way to my objective, I noticed a fortified dwelling. In one of the ravines, the locals could have given me more information on the situation, so I decided to pay them a visit. When I arrived though, I saw a group of bandits trying to pry the occupants out of the dwelling. But at that moment, I just couldn't take the risk. The fates of the Aurora's crew depended on me, and I had to choose between family and strangers. At the entrance to the cave town, which was the only way to the water spring, I met up with E.Y.E. He seemed to have changed, as if he had finally accepted his forgotten roots he'd been denying for so long. At first he felt no connection to the unfortunate subjugation of people whom he shed blood with, but that would gradually change with every extra hour he spent in the desert. He was eager to see the cave town, but it proved to be a disappointment. Still, we were able to reach the springs. Bandits were guarding the spring quite well, and to take the truck out we had to open the gate to the fort they built to protect it. The operation was complicated by the fact that besides the bandits, the fort housed quite a few of their slaves. Likely we were able to succeed without excessive bloodshed. While Demir and I were busy with the water Bowser, the Baron's forces attacked the Aurora. Even having repelled the Baron's attack, we were still stuck in the desert without fuel. So while the others were preparing the Aurora for departure, Guile, Demir and I were to sneak into the oil terminal and steal a railway tank full of fuel. We were intending to open the gate from the inside, hook the tank up to the rail car and roll it out before any of the Baron's men noticed anything. Getting to the tank proved tricky as the oil terminal was teeming with slaves and their overseers. Still, I managed to carry the first part of the plan out without a bloodshed. The second part of the plan went south. Though we ended up trapped, and the Baron decided to be magnanimous, offering that we become his vassals. His plan didn't work. While we were drawing his attention, Gale bombed his fortress and Anna punctuated his career. Wherever we go, we keep finding the same tyrants, fanatics, cannibals, rapists, murdering each other enthusiastically, or having gained power, oppressing everybody else ruthlessly. Is War to be blamed for this, or did it just free them from the constraints of civilization? Do we become monsters, or were we always like this? I'd hoped we'd become people again on the surface, but that hope wanes with every day. I keep leaning towards the opinion that we won't be able to build the brave new world until we get rid of the old one's legacy. The slavers and slaves are symbiotic beings, and while they are around, nobody could hope to be free. The 40 years Moses had spent wandering about the desert had a purpose. Oh, Moses. Sorry. He couldn't let those born in slavery into the promised land, as only those children born free were ready for the new life. Could I hope to explain this to Demir, who decided to stay with his people? Nothing can change them, but this is his choice. We did all we could. Summer. Fanatics on the banks of Volga, cannibals in the mountain bunker, slavers on the shores of the dried out sea. How many monsters has the war given rise to? Or perhaps were they always there and the war simply gave them a chance to show themselves and now we're stuck with them forever? Will Demir, who stayed in the desert to help Gale lead their people to freedom, beat another monster, the inertia of thought that had been keeping the subjugated locals in willing and ready servitude to tyrants? Frankly, I have doubts that monsters might prove stronger than all the others. Regardless, we can't afford to lose hope. We are getting ever closer to our dream, finding a place where we could live, free from radiation and mutants. The maps we recovered in the desert have provided us with several promising options. And now the crew members are excitedly waiting for the Colonel's decision on where should the Aurora go next. Currently though, the train is calmly rolling eastward. The crew rests and Stefan proposed to Katya. It was a proposal she couldn't refuse. Crew. Anything new on Anna? I don't know. Okay, let's try. Anna, my Anna, from the very beginning I thought I was not worthy of you. Yeah, no, we read that. Radio and Fruit Stems, we read that. You knew that Aristosodi. Not love, what is it? You couldn't, you tried to not pay attention to your father, and you did. Colonel firmly believes that our country is occupied and the war is still going on. And that makes us jumpy, makes us expect an attack at every turn, makes us look for traces of enemy presence everywhere. He has us all riled up. And Anna is not immune to that. She was so eager to find the occupied forces in that tiny abandoned village near the bridge, or Volga that she saw on American banner. Yeah, no, I read that. I've always been telling Anna that her father is holding on to a stupid fabrication and completely disregarding reality, but she loves him too much to fully admit that. There was no trace of government in the bunker complex on the Yamantau mountain, which the colonel was so eager to reach. Just deranged cannibals who were once workers and soldiers, but lost their humanity completely. Anna was captured by them, and I barely managed to rescue her in the nick of time. She was furious, shouting at her father, who could not believe that the war was long since over, but already seems to have forgiven him. Sincerely, I hope that with the maps we recovered in the Caspian Desert, she will finally manage to persuade her father that we can forget about the war and finally settle somewhere. It's time we found a new home where Anna and I could finally live like a proper family is supposed to. Miller. Okay, there's one problem though. It's been a few days since we left Moscow, but we have yet to find a trace of the occupying forces. The Yamantau bunker was a huge disappointment for each of us, but for the Colonel, what we found there was a total catastrophe. Not only there was no Supreme Commander there, it looked like there was none left at all. So the people in control of Metro would have no superior in this world, which meant there was no chance for the Colonel to be pardoned for treason and ever return to Moscow. Not only would we have to spend the rest of his years in exile, an old cripple in exchange in charge of a few deserters instead of the esteemed commander of the order he used to be. It appeared that all his life, all his battles in the Metro were useless. There were no signs of the war still going on. So back in Moscow, our indomitable colonel simply helped a bunch of usurpers deceive the whole population of Metro, even though he was kept out of the loop. How could he take this blow and not crumble, going back to commanding us all again? I might hate his hard-headedness and blindness, yet I can't help but admire his self-control and courage. Even in the Caspian Desert, where most of our people were down with dehydration, the colonel preserved. He continued coordinating operations, issuing orders, and even gave his share of water to the soldiers, while continuing to search for redemption. And then Miller finally accepted the fact that the war was long over and there were no occupying forces. He even seemed to accept the fact that his days of glory were over, with the only quiet sunset years in some backwater ahead. The only thing he wouldn't accept, no matter what, was the danger his daughter's life was in. Outliving Anna was the most terrifying prospect he had ever faced. The mirror! He can't forgive his father for leaving, going as far as to deny being his bloodkin. Yet, having discovered the state that people sharing half of his blood were in on the shores of the dried up sea, the mirror changed. He denied it as best as he could, but in the end, the call of his blood proved undeniable. The mirror fell in love with Guile and decided to share her cause. We did a lot to set his people free, but Demir's heart was captured in return. He stayed there in the desert because he found his true home there, while we counted on our way like homeless nomads. Good luck, brother. While we continued. Duke doesn't have anything new, neither does Yanmark. Idiot. Nothing. Alusha, nothing. Sam. Wait for this. I wonder if he's drawn in the right direction with us. While we were waiting for the Aurora's repairs to be completed, thinking on how to cross the river, Sam, in the light of our constant mentions of occupying forces, began to believe that the colonel didn't trust him. Now we already read that, so nothing new. Stefan. Okay. Having would be a disaster. Right until meeting Katya, Stefan has never defied the colonel. We already read that. Okay. Never leave the crew. For saving her, Katya repaid Stefan in kind. In the Caspian Desert, Stefan got so ill he couldn't even walk, much less fight. He almost died from dehydration, and if not for Katya, he would have been dead for sure. He knew whom to thank for his life, and as soon as he was able to get up, he immediately fell to one knee and proposed. Search wherever you can. You'd never find a better husband for Katya and stepfather for Nastya. He's been spending so much time with the girl, making toys for her and answering constant questions about everything that Nastya had already called Stefan dad several times by that time. Now that Katya was officially his wife, beholding their family happiness was a true sight for the sore eyes. At least someone will be able to have a proper family in future. A pity. This doesn't seem likely for Anna and me. Tokarev. Katya and Nastya. Katya really is amazing. If not for her efforts, our crew was bound to stay forever in the Caspian sands. We survived in the metro tunnels, we won the Battle of D6, we survived where anybody else would die. But dehydration and infections of the desert had almost done us in. Stefan, despite all of his strength and resilience, would have definitely died there, had Katya not nursed him back to health. It seems she would have never forgiven herself, and had she not been able to. Katya herself, however, she suffered from the heat, never let that show. Driven by her example, Nastya not only didn't whine in the slightest, but did her best to help her mother tend to the sick. What in the world would we have done without them? And Crest, nothing new about Crest. World. We got the cannibals. The cannibals residing in the Yamantau complex suffer from heavy cerebral damage caused by an infectious disease they contracted through their diet, so the words are barely legible. Still, they are exceptionally determined in pursuing their prey, and complete disregard of their own safety makes them a dangerous enemy indeed. Tribals, the local population of the Caspian Desert, ruthlessly subjugated by a tyrannical criminal empire. Tribals are mostly young and serve their masters willingly, remaining servile and dedicated to them no matter what terrible oppression they are repaid for their service with. All tribals are devout followers of the cult of the Holy Flame, instituted by the Baron, the adherence to the tenets of faith being brutally enforced by their masters to keep them under control. Savarok Oil, the criminal empire ruling the portion of Caspian Desert we visited, was controlled by a supreme ruler called the Baron, using the largest oil rig in the area as his seat of power. Apparently, the Baron's climb to power started with S.T.A.L.K.E.R Oil, an oil drilling company that had been controlling all of oil extraction in the area when the war broke out. Creatures, got some new. Oh, spider male. These dwellers of the abandoned tunnels and other dark places, of which there's no shortage in our world, are extremely aggressive, agile, strong, and well armored, making them tough opponents when you consider their tendency to live and hunt in packs. They become veritable nightmare fuel. Their only real weakness, although a tremendous one, is light. Even a mere flashlight can make them trash about in panic and die in seconds. Spiderbug female. These dwellers of abandoned tunnels... Yeah, it's the same. Okay. These females of the species tend to be armored even better than their male counterparts, but prefer to stay at a certain distance from their prey, at least until they disable it with wards of web they shoot with amazing power and accuracy. Their only real weakness, although tremendous one, is flashlight, blah blah blah. Lurker, we already read that. Equipment, nothing new. Weapons, we got the S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Okay. For the conditions of Metro, of course, you have to mind not just the ammo in the magazine, but also the air reservoir. You can actually shoot the weapon. Okay, besides its pneumatics, S.T.A.L.K.E.R also improved on S.T.A.L.K.E.R's ammo, inventing a very effective incendiary round that can be easily made in the field out of 2 bearing balls, an empty ampule, or a piece of glass tube, a teaspoonful of any fuel, and a chemical initiator. Of course, you can't fit many of these rounds into the weapons magazine, but they are so effective you rarely need more than 1 at a time. I guess against mutants. Against the humans, you need 2. Bastard, the decoy, the throwing knives, the explosive, Molotov, Gatling. There we go. Despite their weight and number of components in their construction, the multi-barreled machine guns, like this creation of somebody's other genius, have one advantage over the regular ones. They, if you have the necessary talent and industriousness, can be made out of a couple bicycle frames and a scooter engine with nothing but a thin file. A working machine gun of a more conventional scheme, on the other hand, can't really be made without decent machinery and steel. Besides, it is quite easy to burn out a conventional machine gun's barrel. Just fire a few really long series in quick succession, and the bullets start hitting everything save for the F target. You can't easily repeat that trick with a multi-barreled pepper box. Though, as where you would find the sheer number of bullets required for that, no wonder the gunsmiths of the brave new world started making these monsters. You can't really ask for anything better to fight hordes of mutants at once. And the Bulldog. The Bulldog didn't really have a chance to make a name for itself in the numerous wars mankind was so fond of waging. Before the apocalypse, the weapon's creators intended it to replace its ancestor, the venerable Kalash. Yet mankind was able to neatly wrap its history up without the newcomers' involvement. So the Bulldog started reaping its share of lives only after the end of the world. I have to give the Bulldog's designer credit. It is vastly superior to the Kalash in damage output, handling accuracy, has a lower rate of fire, making bursts more controllable, and is much lighter to boot. Yet despite all that, you don't really see these weapons often. The Bulldog is much more complex than Kalash and requires skillful maintenance. It is hardly surprising that most of the survivors prefer its elder brother, the indestructible Kalash. Holy shit. Okay. Finished reading. At least it didn't take goddamn an hour last time.
Та ми ж бо усе любомило, Артемцю. Гайда з нами.
The fuck is happening? Hey. Wait, let me guess. Dancing?
Більше пристрасті!
І тепер підтримку давай!
Дякую.
Так, це було незабутнє видовище.
Артеме, сідай ближче до мене.
Я довго мовчав та більше не можу. Я зобов'язаний попередити щодо
Ah,
Степана.
celebration, right?
Що я пропустила?
Не
Їхній дивовижний танок.
Не бійся. Ще побачиш.
Хвилинку уваги. Півроку в дорозі і 4000 кілометрів позаду. Нам багато що довелося пережити. Дамір. Гаразд, друзі, я розумію, що інтрига затяглася. Після тривалих роздумів і детального вивчення супутникових даних ми знайшли місце, що може стати для нас новою домівкою. Це річкова долина, там є ліс, там є гідроелектростанція, і це місце віддалене від населених пунктів, що дуже важливо, як показує досвід нашої подорожі. Звідси до того місця близько 2 днів шляху. З чим я вас усіх і вітаю. Але на сьогодні є ще одна важлива справа. Степане, Катю.
Обручки.
Степане, Катю, повторюйте за мною. Я встаю з тобою до законного шлюбу. І від сьогодні присягаюся кохати тебе.
І від сьогодні присягаюсь кохати тебе у годину лиху і щасливу.
У багатстві та бідності.
У багатстві та бідності.
У недузі та при
У
здоров'ї.
недузі та при здоров'ї.
Аж доки смерть не
Доки
розлучить.
смерть не розлучить нас.
Я, капітан цього корабля, оголошую вас чоловіком і дружиною. Многое літа. Будьте щасливі. І гірко!
Then the winning on the summer level. There's a chance that I can't? Hey yo! Hey, we got some blood.
Що це? О!
Oh, that's not good. At least we got the nurse with us now.
Аню, що з тобою?
Обережніше, обережніше!
Аня, тримайся, будь ласка.
Що сталося? Що з тобою, Аню? Та кажи. Катю, ти зробиш ти що-небудь.
Відійдіть, їй повітря потрібне.
Ой, кепські.
Пробачте, що раніше не сказала.
Про що ти, сонечко?
В Ямантау, коли мене нагору забрали, той упир-лікар сказав, легені розпадаються. Газом після того підвалу на мосту роз'їло. Мовляв, довго
Та
не
як ти
протягну.
можеш вірити цій тварюці? Ми ж із пустелі щойно, а пісок він як наждак. Не переймайся. Катюшо, Артеме, на кілька слів.
Усе нормально, Артеме. Іди, все гаразд.
Right back.
Щось мені боязно. Старий схоже сівший рубай.
Ну, сятючко, що робити будемо,
Святославе
га?
Костянтиновичу, постараємося не панікувати, будь ласка.
А ви, Катю, що скажете?
Я гадаю, покладатись на діагноз якогось дегенерата передчасно. Зміна вологого повітря метро на пустелю з її спекою та піщаними бурями легенів не до вподоби.
Мені теж здається, що якби це був газ, їй би одразу
Саме
знесло.
так. Тому я її спершу обстежу, наскільки кваліфікація дозволяє. І ще попереду долина, лісове повітря. Цього цілком може бути достатньо для одужання.
Пробачте, що втручаюся. Та що сталося?
Аня кров'ю закашляла.
О, Господи! Ви справді думаєте, що це пісок? Більше схоже на
Ну, його ми
туберкульоз.
вилікуємо. Антибіотиків у нас вдосталь. Повітря знов таки.
Катю, а якщо раптом той хат мав рацію, що тоді? Може, ліки якісь чи що?
В нашому селищі дивізіон ППО стояв. Незадовго до війни у них з'явився новий засіб. Багатьох потім врятував від уражень газами і токсинами. Я перевірю мамині записи, знайду назву. Здається, в Новосибірську вироблялося.
Так, Новосибірськ. Єрмаку, ваші міркування.
Та про що міркувати? Заради Ані хоч на край світу. А до Новосибірська, ну, 1000 зодві буде.
Отже, вирішено. Їдемо в долину. Якщо там все нормально, облаштовуємось. Якщо стан Ані погіршиться, з групою добровольців вирушаємо по ліки. Ви, Катюша, пошукайте, будь ласка, назву.
Знайду, не хвилюйтеся.
І ще, Артеме, не хочеться неприємних сюрпризів у цій долині. Ти найдосвідченіший розвідник, тому бери ще одного добровольця і перевірте її спершу на дрезині. А поки що ходімо до всіх, заспокоїмо Аню та й хлопців.
Okay.
Бідолашна. Розумію тепер, чому вона останнім часом була чорна хмара. Уявляю, як вона себе накрутила.
Ну, що ухвалив консиліум?
Ха-ха. Коротше, слухай мій наказ. Усім заспокоїтеся. План залишається чинним. Ми їдемо в долину до лісового повітря та чистої води. Починаємо там облаштовуватись. Якщо раптом у Ані...
Тату, не треба.
Повторюю, Аню. Якщо раптом тобі почне гіршати, Катя підказала ліки. Тому, якщо знадобиться, ми їх знайдемо.
Ну, як на мене, чудовий план. В такому разі я теж усіх попрошу. Друзі, не хвилюйтесь. Я і так собі місця не знаходжу. Такий день зіпсувала.
Ань, та годі тобі, все нормально.
Накрутила себе через того чорта з Ямантау. Гадаю, це все ж таки пісок. У Москві я в пилові бурі не потрапляла.
Саме так. Ми, до речі, про те саме говорили.
Так, тост!
I
Друзі,
guess.
за вас! Просто будьте щасливі разом. Стьопа, зіграємо цю пісню про нас.
Це легко.
Нічого собі.
Полковник Васин приехал на фронт со своей молодой женой. Полковник Васин созвал свой полк и сказал им: пойдем домой. Мы ведем войну уже 70 лет, нас учили, что жизнь это бой. Но по новым данным разведки мы воевали сами с собой. Я видел генералов, они пьют и едят нашу смерть. Их дети сходят с ума от того, что им нечего больше хотеть. А земля лежит в ржавчине, церкви смешались с золой. И если мы хотим, чтобы было куда вернуться, время вернуться домой. Этот поезд в огне, и нам не на что больше жать. Этот поезд в огне, и нам некуда больше бежать. Эта земля была нашей, пока мы не увязли в борьбе. Она умрет, если будет ничьей, пора вернуть эту землю себе. А кругом горят факелы, это сбор всех погибших частей. И люди, стрелявшие в наших отцов, строят планы на наших детей. Нас сражали под звуки марши, нас пугали тюрьмой. Но хватит ползать на брюхе, мы уже возвратились домой. Этот поезд в огне, и нам не на что больше жать. Этот поезд в огне, и нам некуда больше бежать. Эта земля была нашей, пока мы не увязли в борьбе. Она умрет, если будет ничей, пора вернуть эту землю себе. Этот поезд в огне, и нам не на что больше жать. Этот поезд в огне, и нам некуда больше бежать. Эта земля была нашей, пока мы не увязли в борьбе. Она умрет, если будет ничьей, пора вернуть эту землю себе.
Клас. Ну точнісінько про нас. Навіть полковник в наявності.
Так, справді. Час повернути цю землю собі. І ще одне. Сюрпризи, як от на мосту і в Ямантау, нам більше не потрібні. Тому ми вишлемо вперед розвідку на дрезині. Артемові у поміч потрібен доброволець.
Я піду долину перевіряти на наявність ворогів. Будь ласка.
Ой, маю я підозру, що Альоша зібрався долину перевіряти на предмет наявності там місцевих амазонок.
Отже, вирішено. Ех, сестру я тобі, Степане, раз, і ось тобі готова сім'я, і дружина, і дитина. Ані тобі пелюшок, ані тобі нічних чергувань, животик ні в кого не болить.
Заздрити не гоже.
А ми, до речі, від пелюшок і не ухиляємось, товаришу полковник. Плекаємо план завести Насті братика, якщо вона не буде проти.
Мені краще сестричку. З сестричкою можна в ляльки гратись і нянчитися.
А з братиком можна грати у Спарту і спецоперації.
Оближ, Стьопо. У спецоперації ми, Бог дасть, відіграли. Не знаю, як ви, а я, щиро кажучи, втомився. На пенсію кортить, пожити нарешті.
Вам не можна на пенсію, ви ще молодий.
Старий я, Настуню.
Неправда.
От ти кажеш, заздрити не гоже. А що робити? У твоєї мами є ти. У моєї Ані нема такої розумниці.
Тату!
Що тату? Це у 20 мужик про дітей думати не бажає. А от я зараз онуків на колінах погойдав би.
Рукопашного б їх навчив.
Стрельбі з 2 рук?
Я можу до вас у гості ходити.
Звісно, заходь, Настю. Але дідусь Мельник все одно не заспокоїться. Йому власних онуків треба.
Ага, Артеме, якось аж ніякого тебе вмовляти. Дочка у мене красуня, спортсменка.
Ага, майстер спорту зі стрільби.
Ну, нехай у Москві згода. Темрява, туберкульоз, щури, мутації. Але ж тут, га?
Все, тато. Обіцяю тобі узятися до цієї справи сьогодні.
То що, за колонію чи як? За заселення землі. І за продовження роду.
Правильно, за дітей.
За дітей.
I would second-hand embarrassment if someone actually attacked me like this. I
І ще один
would
лозунг.
die.
За нову колонію. Нехай вона зростає і процвітає.
Ура!
За нову колонію. Добре пішла.
Так
Точно шок, якомога більше прибилося.
Ой, Льошка, ти як завжди.
Не хвилюйся, Альошо. Гадаю, з цим теж усе буде добре. Якщо все вийде, люди до нас приходитимуть. Нормальні, хороші люди. Я певен, такі теж вижили.
There were quite a few people like that in Volga too.
Хтось ненормальний чи не хороший, він дуже пошкодує.
А коли тут із поганими впораємось, тоді про Москву подумаємо. І може навіть щось і придумаємо.
Так.
За кохання.
God damn, another one.
Пасочку таки припіка.
Добре. Артеме, тепер твоя черга. Покажи клас.
Ох, і духота ж тут, крий її останнє лихо.
What am I supposed to do now? But I think I'm going to end this episode here. Can't quick save. No. How am I supposed to do some stuff? Tell me. It's gonna have to wait a bit. Can I save here? Okay. So, I think I'm going to end this episode here. So, without much further ado, goodbye, hope to see you next one. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments. If you like this video, leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Ciao!